So, you want to be motivated. Motivation! Find out how you can have some. So, you want to be motivated. Well, me too. There's something I ask myself every other day, every other week, how to get motivated. Where do you find your motivation? Now, it's not something that I can give to you, but it's something I can help you find. Find out how. Now, this video, I'll explain how the lost can be found. Dear motivation. Find it. Whether you're trying to lose weight, get rid of an unhealthy habit, wake up early, be more productive, pursue that whatever thing you wanted to try, you need motivation. Sometimes you lose it, but I can help you find a way to keep finding it. What was lost shall be found. Let's find out. Or if you're team procrastination. Because sometimes you're on team procrastination, and then when you find your motivation, you're off team procrastination. And then you get back on and get back off. Don't beat yourself up for getting on and off team procrastination. You just have to know how to get back off the team. And I'll explain how in this video. First, start off by finding out, what do you love? What do you enjoy to do? What brings you happiness? Finding motivation is also reminding yourself about the things that you enjoy. Do you love making people happy? Do you love providing for a family member, a mother, a sister, a brother? Sometimes that motivation is not about yourself. It's about wanting to help someone else. So find out what you love. Or remind yourself, what do you love? Sometimes it's good to remind yourself of the action in your mind and your thoughts. Sometimes it's good to do that action. If you love being outside, you're not going to find motivation by being at work if you don't like work, or being in a room if it's a mess and you don't like that. Whatever the atmosphere is, go and do or be in the atmosphere that you love. That's the first step in motivation. Be in the right atmosphere. Atmosphere you love. And when you're in that atmosphere that you love, start to think and envision about your life. Sometimes it's good to self-reflect. What past situations were you in? Where are you now? What have you overcome? Give yourself some credit and think about a vision of where you want to be. Where do you see yourself? What are your dreams? What are your desires? Be re-inspired. Sometimes you know what your dreams and desires are, but after a while of not achieving them, it starts to feel like this tainted, like, yeah, I want to do this, but it's not happening. And it starts to have this icky, non-positive feeling about it. So to refine that way, start to envision and think in your mind of you living that life and being that person. Because there's no limit to your dreams. You can think about whatever you want. So envision that, think about it, reflect on that, give yourself time for that moment. Now, a fun thing to think about is the fact that positive thoughts trick your brain into think that it's already happened. So for instance, maybe you want a dog. What would you do if you had a dog? You would take it out to use the bathroom. You would go on walks. You would be more outdoorsy. Don't wait to be a person that goes on walks when you have your dog. Start going on walks. And early in the morning, late at night, it's probably usually when you would be walking your dog. Do those walks already, so when you do get that pet, it's not something that you're creating, it's a lifestyle that you're continuing to have. You're already going on walks. You're talking to yourself. You're reflecting. Maybe you don't need to go as far as, holding a leash, talking to yourself, whatever you feel comfortable with. But get that action going. Things that you can do that you feel good about. Also realize you will mess up. Sometimes when you start something and you feel motivated, and then the first time you fumble, you're kind of like, you're kind of sad and you're thinking it wasn't meant to be. But go into it knowing you will stumble. So when it happens, recognize it, acknowledge it, and pick yourself back up again. Don't beat yourself up. Because once you start doing that, you're like in this trickle of downward, and then it's hard getting up from there. Being motivated is not about how long you can endure, how long you can keep that motivation. I think it's easier to think about it a little bit more about not maintaining that motivation or endurance, but about what do you have to do when you have to pick yourself back up again. When you lose that motivation, when you're not able to endure the entire time and be motivated, what do you do in response? That's kind of what's going to help you continue to stay motivated. To know it's going to happen, I'm going to fall, so that when it happens, you just pick yourself back up again. It's like a baby learning how to walk. They know they're probably going to fall on their bum, so they pick themselves back up again. And then when they don't fall, they're able to continue walking and be excited about it. A lot of times being able to refer to that mindset of like a child, they are resilient. Literally, when I feel down sometimes, I'll literally hang out with the child. I mean, I don't just find one on the street. There's ways I can hang out with them. I interact with kids all the time. See what it's like when a child tries to do something and they fail, but they don't give up. Literally seeing them and how they live and go through that situation, that's like another way to find motivation. Also know that your atmosphere matters. It is difficult to find a way to be motivated if you're in your apartment and the place is a mess and you're feeling bad about your place being a mess and you just feel like this feeling. If that's it, clean it up and then maybe you'll enjoy it. Or maybe you need to go outside. Maybe you need to be in an atmosphere that you love. Then you're able to find motivation. You have those good endorphins flowing, feel good feelings that will allow you to be encouraged to find that motivation. It's like going on the path of motivation and there's little cheerleaders with pom-poms walking on the side of you going, go, yeah, you can do it, kind of, sort of. So a way to create this atmosphere is you can watch a sermon, you can watch a podcast, sometimes movies or YouTubes, certain things you can watch, read, that are gonna help you find that motivation. That sets that atmosphere of you can do it. You need to have something else pouring into you, giving you that encouragement. Why do you think there's cheerleaders for sports teams? Everybody needs a little motivation, even when you're really good at what you do. So it's time to get some pom-poms around in your life, some cheerleading thoughts in your life. You can do it. Also know that what goes in must come out. So if you're thinking in positive thoughts, positive actions come out. If you're thinking negatively, negative actions will come out. So if you're thinking, I don't have enough time, I'm tired, I'm lazy, you're thinking those things, your actions start to do those things. You start to act lazy, you feel down. Sometimes you literally have to say out loud, I am productive, I am excited, you just keep saying those things, literally you'll start to do them. But just think, the thoughts that you have are very important. Allow positive thoughts to come in and those positive actions will come out. I promise, I freaking promise. I pinky promise. That looked really weird. Also know that it's gonna take work. Sometimes we think motivation comes from people that just are motivating people, but they had to work for it. I have to work for it. You have to work for it. It's going to be difficult. It's not something that's gonna come easy. Acknowledge that it's gonna take a lot of hard work. Acknowledge that you're gonna keep losing motivation and you're gonna keep finding it. It's literally like a lost sock. Motivation is like a lost sock. You're gonna lose it. It's gonna happen. But what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna complain and say you always lose the other sock? Are you gonna go in that dryer? Are you gonna look around? Or, hey, even improvise. Start mismatching socks and make it a cool thing. What are you gonna do when you lose a motivation? Another way is be open-minded to find different ways to be motivated. Sometimes you get in a system, well, whenever I lose motivation, I'm gonna watch this. But then after a while, that thing's only gonna help you so far. Be creative and be open to find different ways to find motivation, whether it be a conversation with a person, watching something, reading something, doing an activity. A lot of times you can find motivation from working out, being in your thoughts, doing positive things, feeling good about yourself. Doing something that you love also sparks a little motivation. I'm using the word motivation a lot. I need to come up with a different word, even though we're talking about motivation. Something I like to think about is the fact that vision creates motivation. Motivation isn't something really, maybe you can, but for me, not something I can just grab or find and then it's there. First, you have to start with the vision. Once you envision it, it creates the motivation. It's like the root and then the motivation is what grows from the seed. So think about your vision as the seed. Your motivation is what grows from the seed of the vision you have. For example, one of the things I wanted to get into was the digital marketing space, and I had made an investment into my education and all that, and then I lost motivation. And I was just like, maybe it wasn't meant to be. Just gonna take it as a loss. But I decided to go back to what sparked the motivation. Why did I even want to get into digital marketing and doing that business? So I went back to what inspired me in the beginning, and it was a book. So I reread the book. Then I felt inspired again. Then I decided I'm going to say that I work in digital marketing, and then eventually I will work in digital marketing. I started to include in my conversations. People asked me what I did. I decided that was going to be the highlight, not currently what I was doing at the moment. I would say something and I would say, oh, I also work in digital marketing. And I would find out that way other people also work in digital marketing. Then I was like, wait, you too? We started to hang out, talk things about it, was able to create a relationship to where they checked on me. How is it going? It wasn't just something I was doing on myself, finding my own motivation. I had that extra assistance holding me accountable in a really healthy, positive way. And when you want to do something, invest. I had an investment with my funds, which also reminded me, hey, you paid for this. How about you start doing it? Reminding myself. That was something that I wanted to do. And whenever I thought of myself, like, oh, I'll just consider it a loss, I paid for it, I would have someone mention, like, this costs a lot of money. And then it would remind me, yeah, it did. I should do that. Continue to invest. Sometimes when we spend our money on something, we want to follow through a little bit more. But if you don't make an investment into what you desire to do, it's easy just to fall off. So find people that are in that field, in that atmosphere, that also desire to have the same vision as you do. So you don't have to be your own support system. Another good thing to remember, I have a little secret. When thinking about motivation, think about motivation is not a feeling that you feel. It's a movement put into action. Similar to the idea of faith without works is dead. Motivation is movement. You're doing it. You're doing something. Even if it's as simple as putting yourself in that atmosphere that inspires you. That's movement put into action that's allowing you to feel that way. Same thing when you read that book and you open that book. That's movement put into action that's allowing you to feel that way. When you lose that motivation, go back to where it started. Where did that motivation come from? What book did you read? What did you watch? What movie was it? Watch it again. Get back to that space you were from the beginning. Sometimes when we're feeling unmotivated, we block off things that remind us of why we felt motivated. If you invested and you used money for something, you'll just stop looking at your bank account like, I'm not even gonna look anymore, I know there's nothing in there. No, look at it. It's real. You don't have the money there anymore. Try not to block off things that are going to remind you why you need to be doing it. And I can go on and on and on. Being motivated is a very wide topic, but it's something that can help you get started. Creating a new healthy habit, getting a new routine, waking up early, working out, investing whatever you want to invest in. Start, because there's endless books, there's endless things that you can look up on motivation, but I find these simple things to try out help to get the ball rolling. So from what I've shared, there are endless ways to be motivated. If there's one thing in this video that stood out to you that's going to help you take that next step to find your motivation, feel free to comment below and let me know what's working, what's not working. If you need some help, I'm down to discuss it with you. Let's do this together. Put our motivation on a leash so that it doesn't really go too far next time. Maybe you should watch this video more than once to find motivation. I'm down for it. You down for it? Let me know. Like I might forget in a month some of the things I'm saying right now, and I'll watch the video again myself to help me find my motivation. I'm in this with you and marinate on that for a few days until I'm back. Peace, love, and balance. And that's all I got. Is that good?